Hello everybody, it is Ebontis, and in this video, what I want to cover is the Planetology skill tree unlock path to get everything unlocked. I finished it yesterday. I'm farther in than you might expect, but there's a reason I waited till I had an Ornithopter and then got a little distracted, but there's a reason I would wait for part of this for the Ornithopter, because you do have a fair amount of travel and it's just going to make it easier. Now, why would you want the Planetologies? Because, you know, these have some cool effects to them, but this is just all about efficiency. Being as you're going to be mining a bunch of resources, traveling around a lot, it's just going to help you throughout your entire playthrough, so I highly recommend it. Basically, the first step that you're going to do is once you find the trainer, which I'm going to show you in 2 seconds where he's at, you're going to do the basic quest and it will open up the skill tree. Kind of similar to the first time you've got, like, say, Benny Jezzer at level 1. I can only get things to level 1. I don't have the top stuff unlocked. Same thing happens here. But you can get tons of stuff by doing this, whether it be cut array yield or, you know, climbing stamina, vehicle and fuel efficiency, and repair, which repair is really important when you get to some, you know, expensive vehicles. All of this stuff just pays dividends throughout the entire game. So I recommend getting it initially unlocked, and then as soon as you get an Ornithopter, probably finish it up then. So where does this begin? Where do you get it? You might have actually bumped into it already. You might just not have known, you know, exactly what was going on. So at Griffin's Reach Trade Post, you might pick up an optional contract if you do some things that might take you to them. Or if you're over here by Imperial Testing Station number 2, pretty much smack dab in the middle of Haga Basin South, you're just in the upper half of it. So kind of between the wreck for your green particles and then the trade post, you've got the testing station. This will drop your blue crafting materials in here, and I'll show you what to look for. A lot of the Planetologist questline will take you to different testing stations all over the map. You're going to go to 197, then you're going to come up here, you're going to go to 76, then you've got 29, and then way over here, you've also got 71 and 163. What you'll notice is these are really getting to be far apart. And if you try and do a lot of this on, say, a sand bike or even a buggy, you're going to be driving around a lot, you're going to be taking a lot of time, and then at some points you also need to travel to the world map, which is going to take you when you go to, like, Arrakeen or Harco Village. And while you can do that, if you want to, by going through the taxi service, by paying, like, the 2,500 Solari, you honestly may as well just wait till you build an Ornithopter once you get to those steps where you have to travel, because it's just going to be easier to do it that way once you've made the vehicle, because you've also got some fast travel things that you can do with the Ornithopter that I'll explain a bit later as well, because the way the whole overworld map works is kind of cool, but there's a fast travel trick to it. So you can save yourself a lot of travel, but I do recommend doing the opening first. Now, if you just want to jump ahead in the timestamps to figure out, you know, for quest step number, whatever you're on, what is the thing that I need to do? Where do I need to go? Say you're like, I'm on the search for Kynes, or I'm on clues from the past. I will have all of these labeled timestamps. Just look for what you need. I'll tell you where to go and what you'll be looking for. That way you don't have any question of where you're going and what you may need to do. Just a couple things to point out. Every time you do a quest step for our guy here, Derek Chinara, every time you do one, you will need to report back to him. And when I say report back, you might be up here doing a quest step in, say, you know, Jabal, Afrit, Janub, wherever this is, or even higher. You might actually be in Haga Rift going to Imperial Testing Station 29. You will still eventually, you will potentially either bump into him here, and again, I got to just go through the quest step, so I'm winging it for a second, but you might bump into him here, give him some materials as you're leaving. You still will then need to travel back all the way down and talk to him. That is one of the main reasons why I would say get the Ornithopter, because the flying back and forth is way quicker than anything else, and you have to do it a lot. There's a lot of back and forth to his little camp right here every time you need to do another step. So that's one piece that's important. And then outside of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the testing station next. So if you want to jump ahead, feel free. I'll say, you know, I'll have everything for the quest steps after this, so you kind of know what's going on. When you get to, this is going to be an initiation for what the secret doors look like, what the type of chests you're going to be looking for, also the ones that have all these materials so you don't miss them, and then just a little, you know, a couple tidbits about the ID bands and what to look for in a testing station as a beginner's guide to kind of testing station navigation. After that, I'm just going to go to this cave, find him down in, like, you know, at the entrance to the testing station, travel through, typically find at the end your things that you need, and then go on. So we'll make it quicker afterwards if you want to jump ahead, get to the step that you want. For now, what I want to do is, basically what you would do is when you meet him, you would talk to him, and he's like, hey, I'll help you initiate your planetology, like, learnings, but I need something from you first. So he's going to ask you to go down into Imperial Testing Station number 2, and you're going to need to get some records. So if we're going to jump down here, I've got a leap suspensor belt, so I do suggest having one of these as soon as possible. Any of the belts are really nice to have, though. All your testing stations are going to look like this. Again, jump ahead if you want to. This is like a beginner's guide to testing stations, but it's part of how I make my guides, depending on when you get to it. So when you see any architecture like this, you know you're in a testing station. You'll have some stairs typically to travel down. Makes life a little easier. And then as you travel down in, what you're going to notice is a couple things. You're going to need an ID band to get through specific doors. This is kind of your introduction to it. That's why I'm not going to spend too long on it. But pay attention. The ID band may look gold, or it may look blue, or it may look purple, or whatever. Pay attention to the word that it says. Now that says orange for me, sure, gold, orange. That technically matches, but later on you'll have like a blue and a purple. And if you think you got the blue, but then you're looking at a purple door, they may not always be the same thing. So just be aware of that. It's just kind of a thing I wanted to point out. Then when you come down here, typically you would go forward, head towards that, but this is a door I can't get to yet. It's blue. Remember that, because that will actually help you out if you're trying to fully use these facilities to get as many materials as possible. There's likely going to be some projection talking to you saying, hey, welcome to this place that we're in. Also, when you go through some of the testing stations, sometimes some of the windows are busted out. You might find things in here. There's actually a chest right here. It's just one of those that's a little bit hidden. And I re-recorded this a little bit ago, so I won't be picking up too much stuff at the moment. But as you come over here, there will potentially be some enemies, but I cleared those out recently too. And then as you walk your way through, you'll notice you've got a few different chest types. You've probably already noticed that these are going to be your ones with bandages or heals. These are going to be your ones with ammo. And then these down here on the ground that have the bar across the top, they actually look like a cooler or something like that, kind of that rectangular shape. Those have the advanced servox and particle capacitors. You will use those through the entire game, so if you're fully exploring any of these places, fully exploring these is going to serve you very well. Now, again, I'm way over leveled right here. That's why I'm probably going to kill everything very quickly. No, don't worry about the fact that everything dies real fast. But instead of taking the natural stair down, again, check the side corner, because there's like 3 different initial contracts you need in here. One of them will be right here. This thing right here, these, poison snooper, whatever it may be, this is for one of them, for sure. And then as you work your way through, this would have a big chunk of materials. And then you'll have some ammo, some heals and stuff like that. There's probably some enemies that are going to be coming up to me. Now that I feel like I've checked the upper deck, then work your way down. Again, we'll see if enemies are down here, angry at me or not. And again, I'm overpowered. I've done this a lot. But again, check the lower deck, see if anything's there. This one I know there's specifically not. And here's where you kind of want to pay attention to a couple of things. One, you'll notice if I look through this window, there's a big glowy band down here on the ground. This is the blue band when you pick it up. Kind of looks violet blue, but notice the blue ID band. That will match that door that was actually at the exit we were at. The other thing I want to point out is it's very easy to miss the secret door. I've stared at it about 3 times already. You see this bookshelf, and you see a vertical bar in what looks like a bookshelf, and it's a yellowish golden glow. This is the secret door. There are multiple of these secret doors throughout the testing stations you're going to go to. Half the time the quest item you need is in it. Not always, but frequently it's in here. And the chests you always want to look for are these. They look like they have this like gold space foil on the outside, and then they kind of have this little pop-up light on the back. This has the Imperial testing station records. This is like the Minimic film. This is what he's looking for. So you would pick this up, take it back to Derek outside, and then you'd be good. But you got to get out of here, so you may as well kill the enemies. Again, you've got more materials in this chest. You got materials in this chest. Those are all the blue materials. I wish this animation was a little faster, but it's not. And then once you get outside, there sometimes is a boss enemy, so pay attention to that. But I may have killed him already. This is another materials chest. If he's dead or if he spawns on me, that'll make the video even better. And this one also has mysterious vials. This is something else that you'll need from somebody. One of these three things you might need. You might need to come back in here for something else. Maybe look for a side chest over here. That's just bandages, so no big deal. But then you'll notice I can't go through that door yet at all, but it feels like that is probably an exit. The purple band, typically, not always, but the purple band typically is going to be an exit band. So that means you've kind of beaten the boss, beat the final room, whatever the tough final section was. You're also typically going to have a chest that looks really noticeably way bigger than everything else, has usually kind of something in it like a unique schematic, which is really cool. This specific testing station will give you the Emperor's Wings, one of the best suspensor belts that you're going to get early on. And if you ever run out, come back down here and get an extra one, and you can recraft it for you for very cheap materials. Still one of the best ones that you'll get to use for a very long time. So then you grab your band, grab your materials, you've got your way to exit, you've also got the stuff that the quest items that you need from here, and then we're going to run back outside. Again, the Shigawire Claw's nice. Depends on what your starting class is, but I do eventually recommend unlocking Trooper, but that's one that you'll get pretty early anyway. That'll be a separate video for the full go through. But now as you're exiting, what you're going to notice is the stairs you came down on, these, you could potentially go straight up, but now this door is unlocked. This was the blue band we got in the middle. So if you kind of miss the little side exploration, you would be missing out on a chest of materials there, chest of materials there, and a chest of materials there. So this is why the testing stations do a little side exploring and fully knock these things out, because the materials will get used a lot, and this quest line is going to take you through them anyway, so you may as well get the materials from them. So at this point, all you would do is basically just run out however you want to travel by sand bike. I'm going to use my little grapple hook to get up there. We're going to head back up to Chinara. This would wrap up the initial opening of the Planetology skill tree. Allows you to get level 1 on basically everything in here, except these top 3. These are like the last things you'll open up. And you'll be able to use level 1 for a while. It just helps for efficiency. It's a good place to spend skill points, so because you're not entirely sure which way your build's going to go, and you could reset them later, but at least this way you're using them efficiently. But yeah, if you're on a sand bike, drive over there and kind of loop around. I'm going to grapple my way up to the top, and I'm going to cut forward till we get back up to Chinara, just because it's more efficient that way. Alright, so then what you will do is you'll talk to Chinara, you'll give him the records, and you always want to make sure, because I can even talk to him now, you're going to see these little text things that will have arrows next to them, which are like advanced unlocks. There will be potentially arrows. Anything that has a little icon next to it, you'll notice the contracts will do this. And then also for Chinara, you need to come back and talk to him and exhaust all of his dialogue. And you will need to do that between quest steps to make sure you unlock whatever you may have unlocked. Because I got through, maybe it was quest step 5, I think it was, whichever the name is for the 5th version. It was somewhere around like a reasonable routine, but I hadn't talked to him yet. I came back and I unlocked level 2 and level 3 unlocks, and then down here it was the last little ones that I got. But make sure when you're coming back to talk to him, exhaust all the dialogue. At least the ones that have like an icon or an arrow next to it, and that'll make sure you get your skills. Because every so often be like, hey, what about my training? He'll give you the training, and then you could get level 2. And then you might go a little farther, and then you'll get level 3. But make sure you're talking to him all the way through his dialogue, and that's how you get the basics. Now, when you get done with Planetology Basics, it doesn't give you much else. It really doesn't. It just kind of hangs out, and you might find some more stuff. But you're like, okay, what about the rest of it? So now we're going to go through the quest chain. I'm going to tell you where to go, what you're going to be looking for, and kind of we'll talk about how to get into these locations. And I'm not going to run through every one of the testing stations. That would take way too long in the video to do. But a lot of them are recover the Mimic film records, and then get it back to him. And then once you've delivered the records to him, you're typically, as I said, I've recorded this a couple times, so sorry if I'm repeating myself, you would need to come back down here. Even again, remember, even if you're up here at Baby Station 29, once you've found those records, and you may have talked to him in Station 29 and been like, hey, I found the records you wanted, and he's like at the door. Once you talk to him at the door, he might leave. You need to come back down here and talk to him so you can find him at the next testing station for the next step. So always remember, if you're not finding him, you may have forgotten to come back to this camp in South Haga Basin, hence why the Ornithopter is so important, to talk to him. All right, so now we're going to go through the steps of everything else, and those are going to be a little more straightforward. All right, to initiate the Planetology Advanced quest line, and I probably would only do this next step before you start to get a Ornithopter, because then you're going to be doing a lot more travel, and it's Buried Archives. So Buried Archives is going to take you to testing station 197. and you're going to, again, pick up the Mimic records and then give them back to him. But you won't know this is a quest step until you actually just bump into him. So if you go exploring, you're like, oh, this is a blue testing station, let me go in here. So I'm over here at testing station Western Vermilius Gap. If you want to see where I'm at, this is where. And then it's a big hole, basically. And as you go to jump down, don't forget right over there, that's actually a chest in there. But pretty much what you would do is just hop down. You know, if you're using a safe fall belt, that's a good way to do it. And he's typically just going to be sitting right here. He's going to have his little glowing thing next to him, talk to him, and what you would need to do again is go inside, find the Mimic records, and you would give those to him. So I'm going to run inside. I will show you the final room where they're at, and then we'll go on to the next piece. Alright, so after you talk to Derek, you should be hanging out right here as he's glowing. You're going to head into this area. Now, I've killed the enemies, so this hopefully should be a little quicker as long as they're not respawning on top of me. That door over there will be closed until you kind of work your way through the station. And I do recommend you go through the whole station, as I said. Lots of materials in here. You'll come down the ramp and you're going to see the big door that's closed on the left. You got to go find the green band to get through there. So we're going to head off to the right. And you're going to see more of the kind of man-made architecture over here. And my advice is all you got to do is come into here. And when you come this way, you might have some enemies down here if they've spawned in. Of course, they're here. This is heavy armor, by the way, in case you're wondering like what it's capable of later on. You can take a lot of shots. So you'll have these two here. I don't know if that green door would be totally available. It might need you to actually just unlock. But once you get right here, so that door should unlock just by killing enemies. Same thing here, you'll notice. When you kill enemies, doors are going to unlock. If you're not in the middle of being shot, of course. And again, I'm over leveled here. That's why I'm making this look so easy. So that's sometimes what it takes to open certain doors, by the way, is just a kill all the enemies in the room. When you find the green band, you're in the right place. Again, that'll let you go through the big door I pointed out. But come into this room here, and this is where your records would be. I've already got them. I literally picked them up, and apparently is never going to let me get rid of them for whatever reason, because I've done the quest already. But they should be right in there. Again, another gold foil chest. And then at that point, I recommend just go through the whole thing. You'll loop back out, and we're going to get back, and I'll just basically kind of finish up this quest step. We'll go on to the next one. Alright, so when you get back here, you'll talk to Derek again, give him the records, and then remember, make sure you're going to need to travel back down to Haga Basin South, talk to him at his camp, and that will actually wrap up this first full step called Buried Archives. After you are done with that, and you actually go back and talk to him, then the next step will be available. Alright, so after testing station 197, remember, head back to Derek Chinara at his camp, and we're going to get started on adhering to hierarchy. A couple things I want to cover in here is fast travel in the overmap. If you know how that works with the Ornithopter, you can skip that part, but I do want to cover it. And the other thing here is just a little bit of kind of showing you Arrakeen's map and what's going on. So we're back here with Derek Chinara. You'll talk to him. He'll tell you need to go to Arrakeen. Now, excuse my copter. I think it got hit by a sandstorm, so it's probably not in the best shape. But this is where it gets to be a point of fast travel. Now, the way this works is if you look at, say, the map. Now, it's kind of hidden by the area thing over here, which I probably wish I could hide. You'll see that it's probably about my screen wide. And if you kind of split it in the middle on my logo, the middle's about here. Picture this as 6 o'clock on a clock at the bottom. And then if you go to the very top, picture this as 12 o'clock. Over here is going to be about 3 o'clock. And then over here is going to be about 9. And that's kind of how it works, and it divides up. So if you come up here, it's about 10, somewhere kind of up here. 11's going to be somewhere in this region up, probably up here that should pop through. I know 12 is up here. 1 somewhere up here. 2's probably over here. 3's over here, and so forth. So basically, if you can break up this entire map into a clock, what happens is you can use it to fast travel. And by that, I mean, if I basically head out to the wall, so if I can let this thing go somewhere, and all you have to do is get to the shield wall. Doesn't really matter how you have to get there, but this is why I really recommend the Ornithopter after this one, because going back and forth between 197, sorry, birds, between 197, the one that's just in Western Vermilius Gap, This one was not too bad to drive down here. It's one time. But after a while, it's going to be even farther and farther and farther away. But also, every time you go back to Chinara, it's always faster to get wherever else you're going by doing exactly what I'm doing now. So you'll come down here. You're going to be looking for the invisible blue wall that'll eventually show up. When you get to it, try not to smash into it too hard. I've done that, kind of like that. And depending on the time of day, I have had a queue here. So if it's that time of night or whatever's going on, maybe not the best thing to do. But generally, the reason I'm showing you this is bottom metal. This is where I exited from. So now, say I wanted to go in the very top center. Actually, there's a couple things. I know there are a couple of the later quest steps that happen in Odom. So if I come in up here, I know it's kind of a little, like, farther up the western side of the map. So if you picture this as 10 o'clock, if I come in here, it's going to pop me right into its Sietch Thufir. Probably saying that wrong. Probably said so many things mispronounced in all these videos. Sorry. Not going to claim to be a Dune pronunciation expert. But when you come in, it is a really, really, really good way to fast travel. And this is just all I wanted to show you. So now when you come in, I just don't want to leave it sitting in the sand, so I will take off. But when you come in, now you'll notice it is actually directional. So now if you look at kind of from down here all the way up here, I'm a little above kind of dead center right up here in this region. So each area that you can enter on the map is actually really going to give you that option to kind of fast travel around. And you're going to go back to Chinara's camp over and over and over. And depending on where you're coming from, it can be easy to say one of the quest steps is going to be right here at 71. Well, then if you got to go back to his camp afterwards, guess what? You just do exactly what I did, fly back to the side, and you save yourself that whole time by just doing this little half circle. Just go a little wide, down here to the bottom, and for Chinara's camp, I come right here to 5 o'clock on the clock, come back in, and then once you're in here, makes it a lot easier to get around. So I wanted to show you this, and this is why I really recommend getting the Ornithopter for the rest of this quest. I know it's going to take mining some materials and that kind of thing, and you're going to be out here just in the sand, so make sure when you come in that you always kind of get up and take off first. But if you look at where I'm at now, I do have to travel over here. So maybe instead of 5 o'clock, maybe 6 o'clock's a little better. But either one of these, it doesn't take long to just, like, literally get a little bit of loft. There's the ship, and then if I know where I'm going, I will just fly my way here. So that's all I do is usually get a little loft, get a nice glide, and you're good to go. But on this quest step, now we're going to head to Arrakeen, and let me go back to the world map just to show you what that looks like. Not hard to get to, but if you've never been there before, you might be looking around a little bit, so I may as well make this easy as possible. Gliding is fast to do this often, saves your battery, and also lets you go faster. Just got to find that kind of perfect elevation. And occasionally that invisible wall. But yeah, when you get to the world map from Haga Basin, it's just due east, and then like a smidge north. So all you gotta do, you can't zoom out that far, unfortunately. I really hope they fix that. But if you just right click and scroll directly east, and then up a little bit, and just click right about here, you'll travel over here. That's all it is, and you just gotta wait for your little guy to show up. You can actually kind of follow it along if you want to. The bar on the left is the water. The bar on the right is your fuel. And you'll kind of see, it'll actually show you movement across overland cost fuel, time on the overland cost water. So if you just sit here for a while, water will go away. If you're actually moving, it will cost you fuel. And once you get, it's just like, imagine, it's not actually using like your batteries, it's just using this fuel. And if you really are just wandering around the map, find one of those random like fuel deposits like you can see right here, hover over it until it's full, and you're good to go again. So now let's land in Arrakeen, and I'll show you where everything's at. So this is Arrakeen. You're going to enter from here at the exit or the taxi service. You're going to go basically straight forward up the stairs until you're kind of in this big room. You'll see the green projection on the left. And all you need to do is do a quick U-turn into the bar. So over here on the right-hand side, and up here in the upper level, follow the stairs, and you'll work all the way to the back corner, and this guy's back here. He's a pain in the butt. He's not a nice dude. And you just got to talk to him, and then he's going to deny you access to the records you're going for. It's this guy. Talk to him. He's going to deny your access, and then you basically go back to Derek. So I'm going to head back to... I'm going to head to the next section, but I'm basically going to head back to Haga Basin for now. And then once we get back to Haga Basin, you would go talk to Chinara. back at his camp, and then you would go to the next step after that, which is where I'm going to jump to on the quest. So this will basically end the adhering to hierarchy. So this is quest step 3. Go talk to Derek Chinara to really finish it up. Once you've talked to him, then we'll jump to step 4, which is science unlocked. So let's go there. All right, so if you're looking for the front door to 76 to start the next quest step, you want to be pretty much right here on the map. So it's northeast of this like western Vermilius Gap area. And from here, if you're looking for the actual door entrance, it is going to be this rock structure where you see it at, but come at it from the eastern side, and you'll see the big kind of compounded doors and everything else. So from here, I'm going to go inside. I'll show you where Derek is, just so you can actually see his location. And then I'm going to, again, remember when you go inside, put your vehicle away. It's always safer. I'll show you where he's at, and then also show you where the scan records that he's looking for are, because they'll be inside as well. I'm going to try not to get shot. Alright, so when you come down the initial set of stairs, you'll be kind of seeing this area with this flag hanging. You'll see some cages and stuff. Derek will actually be right in here. He's going to be in this cage, and this is how you need to talk to him. Again, you're going to need to do 2 things when you work through this step. So if we go to Science Unlocked, you need to search the testing station for the mnemonic film records. You also need to find the keys for his cage. Those are important to find as well. And then you'll come back, you'll free him, and you'll give him the records. So I'm going to try and get a kind of jump ahead in the edit to let you know where those pieces are, and then we'll get out of this section. All right, the keys are pretty easy to overlook when you come in. So after you talk to Derek, you'll kind of find the spiral staircase, and you'll have some enemies in this room, but once you've got them cleared out, make sure you kind of come back and get a point of reference for your little projection guy. Come in here, right here on the left. There's this book with a light on it that looks a little more kind of like light yellow colored. The keys, if you interact with that book, should be right here. So this is the key location. Now let me go get you the records location. All right, so as you're working your way through Station 76, you're going to find this room after you've fought, you know, a couple tough enemy rooms, decent open rooms. You'll see this red one, and then the next room is going to have kind of a chunky mini-boss fight over here, and then you'll have a couple enemies in here. So you'll have a door on the right that'll open once the actual enemies are dead. You'll know it's kind of the room that is eventually going to be the exit, because you'll have that looking chest. If you go here, you've gone too far, so don't go out the purple exit door. Back in this room where you fought the boss, you want to actually come over here. Make sure you grab all your random side chests too. Come over here, jump through the window. And then if you come up here, you're going to go behind the secret door. Told you these things exist. And once this guy opens up, here are your records that you would take. And again, you will talk to Derek. He should be out of his cage at this point as you're leaving. So pick these up, talk to him, and then remember, just like before, you're going to go back once you're done talking to him. So once you let him out, once you've got the keys and the records, give him both, let him out, talk to him. And then when you're done with that part as you exit, head back down and go to Chinara's camp and talk to him to actually finish this step. Remember, always heading back. I'm going to stress that because I forgot about it a couple times, so sorry if I overdo it. But yeah, so deliver him the records, free him, and then we're going to head back to his little camp to finish up Science Unlocked completely. And you might actually check and see what skills are available at that point. After that, we're going to go towards the search for Kynes. So for now, this should be what you need to finish this step, and then once you go back and talk to Chinara, or talk to him at the camp, then we'll get to the next one. Alright, so after you finish up in Station 76, make sure you go talk to Derek even after you're leaving the station. Remember, go back to his base camp, and then you should get the quest for the search for Kynes. When you get done talking to him, you're going to need to come to Arrakeen, where I am now. And you would need to come way back here. So I'm going to mark it on the map just because I'm not in the middle of the quest right now. But you basically walk all the way back over here. Talk to, what is his name? Thufir, Hawat, which I'm sure I'm mispronouncing all of these names. Talk to him, and if you get through his dialogue, eventually it's going to say you need to kind of track down Sietch Tarl, which is going to be in the northwest section. This is in the Odom area. So this is kind of why flying around gets really important at this level. And you'll talk to him, head back out and exit, and then we'll fly back to Haga Basin, but I want to show you where you want to enter. Make sure you're as close to the rest of these steps as possible. Alright, so now on the search for Kynes, you're headed back to Haga Basin, but this time we want to actually get to Sietch Tarl. So we want to actually get to kind of the Odham, I'm probably saying that wrong, I'm sorry, area. So you want to enter at the 10 o'clock number. So if you have 12 o'clock at the top, head in here at the 10 o'clock, and then when we go in, as long as you don't have a line, this process works pretty well. And we're going to be very close to where we actually need to go, which is nice. This is where kind of the fast traveling into the zone. This has got to be one of those QA things that they thought of way later in the process, because to initially think of this would just blow my mind. Either way. So now you'll notice when we check our map that we are now in the Odham. And where we need to go is actually right here. This is Sietch Tarl. So if you jump in your Ornithopter and we head to Sietch Tarl, you're all close by, because now a lot of what you need to do is going to be Sietch Tarl and then some upper northern stuff, but this one's pretty quick. So we're going to fly over here, and I'm just going to fly here real quick and show you where this one's at, because this is pretty straightforward and not a whole lot of running through a station, so this shouldn't take too long. I usually just get a little elevation and then let the vulture glide happen. Usually try and level off so I get that nice 160 kilometer glide. This is just a normal, I think, Mark IV Ornithopter, so nothing too crazy. And then as you're getting close to the wall, you're going to head down here towards the ground level. Glide my way in. And park. I'm just going to leave it here because this will be very quick. We're just going to run inside and you literally will just scan something. So from here, what we're going to do is you'll notice from where we are on the map, if you're looking for it, if you kind of need a point of reference, you've got the larger mountain here, kind of in the western shield wall. You've got a break here and kind of a break here. It's literally split in the difference, and it's got this little area that you can fall down in between. You can technically fall from the top if you want to, but it's just as easy to fall from here. It's kind of easy just to glide all the way through. Oh, come on, didn't want to catch the wall. And then as you work your way back here, you're going to see a little bit of symbolism on the wall of different icons and stuff. A little bit more of a noticeable structure back here. This is why a good power back, a good jump pack, makes these travels much faster. And pretty much all you're going to need to do is walk right back here and click, like, kind of investigate this piece of stone right here, and you'll be done with this section. Sadly, nothing else you can do at this point. So from here, you're going to need to get back in your Ornithopter, however you want to do it. And again, if you just fly due west, hit the wall, go back to the world map, and then do a quick fly around, and then come back in at the 5 o'clock part, you'll be down here in Haga Basin, and we're going to need to go right back to our Chinara's camp and talk to him. That will finish the search for Kynes quest, which is basically step number 5. So once you're done with that, we'll get to the next step. Alright, so after the search for Kynes, investigating Sietch Tarl, bringing the note back to Derek and talking to him, you'll go on to a reasonable routine. So now we're going to go to Imperial's testing station 29. Again, you're going to meet up with Derek here, and you're going to find the Minimic film and give it back to him. 29 is going to be in Haga Rift. It's going to be in the northern section of Haga Rift. I mean, Haga Rift is this really long thing in the northeast corner. It is going to be up here. And what you'll notice is, again, this is going to be one that has a really big hole to drop down into. Haga Rift is really deep. It's like 5, maybe 6 layers deep. I've lost track at a point. But the big thing I want to tell you is, as you're falling your way down, you do have one chest on the side over here that you do want to make sure you grab. Just on the way down. It's just a nice, easy one to grab for some materials. And then as we fall, you're going to go all the way down. I would slow your fall a little bit in between. There's no reason to go all the way down without just, you know, slowing yourself a little bit. But then as you fall to the ground, again, work your way down here. And here's the testing station. As you run inside, you would find Derek. Again, I won't find him because I've already done the quest, but he'd be hanging out either here or maybe a little farther down below. But I'm going to go find the Minimic records. It should be where the purple exit band is. It's towards the end of this one. So I'm going to just verify that for you. But after this one, all you'll do is head back down once you've cleared it out. Give everything you need to Derek on the way out. And then again, you will come back to Haga Basin South to talk to him. So let me go find the Minimic records here in Station 29 in Haga Rift. And let's see where they're at. So after the boss room, you'll be coming up some stairs. Once that door opens up when the enemies are defeated, you'll have your big, like, mega chest here in the middle. And then over here on the right-hand side, you'll have your purple band, along with some materials chests. Again, most of these gold chests so far have just been currency. But in this room, if you look to your right, you've got another, false wall bookshelf here with the glowing book. And then when this gives way, you've got some material pickups in here. And then on the right-hand side of the table over here, you will have the testing station 29 records. That's what Derek Chinara is going to be looking for. And what you'll do at that point is, well, catch the door before its animation goes if you're going to be fast. Otherwise, when the door animation is done, as you exit, you'll stop by, check with Derek, give him the records, and then you're going to, as usual, head back to the bottom of the map and, check with him at his camp down here at Chinara's camp, and then we'll get on to the next step. But this will be the end of this step, called a reasonable routine. Also at this time, make sure you exhaust a lot of your dialogue with Derek Chinara, because that's going to allow you now to have more skills levels unlocked. I think you should be up to like level 3 at this point. You might see one of these explorer quests updated as well. So a lot more should be available for you to upgrade. So if you go do some other stuff, you should be able to start spending some more skill points here as well. All right, for the next step of this quest, it's going to be clues from the past. So we're going to be searching for Kynes' notes in the testing station. We're also going to be looking for the mnemonic film as we usually do. And this is going to be testing station number 71. So my piece of advice, again, as you're doing this, we were over here at 29, way up here. What I did is I flew east to the wall, and then you could go down here to get to Haga Basin. And then again, if your world map travel is quick, fly south. And then if you come back into Haga Basin at about 10 o'clock, you end up really like right over here. So it's a quick way to get over here. And then also the next one we're going to do is 163. So you're going to go kind of similar directions as well. But 71, you're up here in Oldham, just south of the Western Shield Wall. And right here is testing station 71. So kind of in the southern middle area of it. Here's going to be the entrance, as you guys can see. So if you get to this rock structure, looking at it from the north side, looking south, this is going to be our entrance. We're going to head on in. Just as usual, you would talk to Derek, and then after you get done talking to him, you will be able to, find the records, give them to him, usual kind of rotation that we do through here. So I'm going to go in, find the locations for the pieces you need, and I'll point those out as we go. All right, so once you get to the actual kind of start of the real testing station area, like this is going to be probably your exit door. From here, just kind of this main entrance that you'll get to, turn left, and if you follow this, and then you go left again, you'll get to a room that will have an ID band. I think this one looks like it's blue. It's also got a secret wall over here, and that is going to be where your testing records are. But then we've also got to get the notes we need. So this is step 1 in here, and then we'll come out of here, and I'll show you where the second part is. So if you run in, I already grabbed everything else from here. Here's your records. Grab that. And then if it's going to let me leave in time, I am. So coming out of here, now we're going to see where the next part is. All right, so this one is pretty easy to explain. When we went left first for the mnemonic records, you got the blue band. Now the blue door is open, so you would have to go this way to get the purple band, which if you come down here, I don't even think there were any enemies. The purple band is in this room. And then if you kind of come back out here, grab your lockers, grab your chest. I'm not going to go over all of those. Come right over here, and in this room, you'll have quite a few enemies. There was like 4 normal enemies and a shielded boss enemy in here as well. It looks like some weird ritual chamber. It's kind of creepy. But if you look over here to the right, you'll see what looks like kind of a bookshelf, and your notes that you were looking for should be right here, the research notes for that one. Also, once you kill all the enemies, don't forget your big chest is going to be in the back. So from here, what we're going to do is head back to Derek and close out this one. Again, this is the part that is called Clues from the Past. And this was Research Station 71. All right, so after Station 71, talk to Derek Chinara again at his camp, and then we're going to head back to Arrakeen. And this time we're going to be headed back into the bar to talk to Cyprian Io, the turd we talked to many quest steps ago. You're going to talk to him and figure out that he has basically sent out a team to take out our buddy, Derek. So he wants him taken out and killed. So it is on us to head back to South Haga Basin and save him. So now let's go back there and we'll point that stuff out. So now that we're back in Haga Basin, again, remember flying at about 10 o'clock. You should be somewhere in this southern Haga Basin area. We're going to go back to Chinara's camp. And at this point, you're going to see that Derek Chinara left a note that he's not available to be found. But you're also going to have a couple of sniper groups that you're going to need to take out. I think one was kind of right up here in this region, and then one was perched up over here. I would bring a sniper rifle with you, because they do kind of hurt at this point. Just enough, at least, that I was aware that I wanted to, you know, shoot them from cover. So one sniper group here, one sniper group here. I think I either had to go loot the bodies or interact or get close enough for it to count that the bodies were kind of completely dead. So if you have any issues with like the second group triggering or the second group finishing or something like that, go over to the bodies if you killed them from far away, and that should trigger it. When you go back to his camp, he's actually going to have left you a note kind of on his main table. Just kind of walk up, follow your little compass thing, and you should see it there. And from there, we're going to head to our final testing station. So again, if you want to fast travel, go straight out south, come back in at 10 o'clock because we're going to be here at Odom, and we're going to go testing station 163. So I'm going to go here and show you where this thing finishes up. So we're here in Odom. We're just going to need to find the records and give it to him, and you should wrap it up. And you actually get a pretty cool still suit by doing it. So again, location-wise, so we're in Odom here. We're almost smack dab in the middle, basically just northeast of 71. That's why the fast travel through the wall is really nice. And once we're in here, once we get to the bottom of the stairs, Derek will be waiting for you. Talk to him. He's going to have you go get one more record, which I'm going to show you where that one's at. And then when you give him that final record, everything should be fully unlocked. So Derek should be either around here or... No, I think he's actually at the bottom of this one. He might actually be all the way down here, which I think he is. So I'm going to go through the station, find the final piece, which is basically there's like a hologram projection. You just need to interact with it, and that's actually the records that he was looking for, kind of a recording of Kynes. And that's what we're going to do. So I'm going to go pretty much to the end, I'm pretty sure. So let me cut ahead to that, show you where it's at, and then you'll be able to wrap this thing up completely. Alright, so when you've done your full exploring, you've got the yellow band. So if you're at the circular staircase room, it's on the upper level, just like the normal level you've been walking around. Come down the staircase, there's probably a chest over in a corner that you'll see on the way down. And then when you walk forward, there will be a big purple projection, like right here. I've just picked it up already, so it wouldn't be there. And that will be the last thing you need. So you'll be able to pick up your exit band and then get your good stuff from here. And then when you go outside, talk to Derek Chinara, give him the records he was looking for. And that will be the end of the Planetology quest, and every single piece of this will now be unlocked. So if you found this video useful, drop a like below, there's a comment if there's anything maybe I forgot. If you want to see more from me, guides, tips, playthroughs, anything like that, you can find me right here on YouTube. Subscribe, you know, become a member if you want to. You can find me on Twitch, streaming this and many other things, Twitter, Blue Sky, and anything else, Patreon as well. Thank you guys. I hope you got something from this. If you found it beneficial, share it with somebody who needs it. Have a great one, and I will see you all later.